I've been a grouchy old man since I was in junior high. I really have.
Yeah. Whisper when they see us walking. There's a love that's always meant to be. Hi, and welcome to Happily Never Equal. I'm your host, Cecilia.
And I'm Randolph.
And we're back!
Are we?
We are.
I guess we'll see.
We had some difficulties getting started this year.
We've had a few difficulties, yeah.
Yeah, I was sick.
Yeah.
And then we had some technical issues last week.
We recorded a whole episode last week and it's just vanished. It's gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's lovely. I love that.
I'm sorry.
What are you going to do?
I didn't make it vanish. Just, I don't know.
It just vanished.
Well, I'm glad to be back, and thank you to our listeners for hanging in there with us. And we hope we didn't lose any.
We probably did.
Aw, that's sad.
Let's be real about it.
That breaks my heart.
Okay.
Are you excited for the new year?
Like 2019?
No, 2018.
Oh, we're already in it.
I know, but we haven't really got to talk about it yet. So
no, we haven't. Not on the podcast?
No, because we haven't done it this year.
Oh, yeah, no.
So, do you have any New Year's resolutions or anything like that?
Nope.
Are you keeping them? Have you broke with them?
I didn't have them to keep or break.
So, as you know, each year I like to pick like a theme, and then I try really hard to kind of live my life by that theme.
Okay,
I think that's a little easier to do than like making a resolution.
Okay,
don't you?
What was last year's theme?
Last year's theme was to look for the silver lining.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I think that when you try to do that, when you try to do a theme that like betters yourself or something like that, and you do it all year, then it kind of changes the way like you think or behave or something like that. So my theme this year is to be improving. I want to do things that improve my health, my parenting, my relationships, my work, whatever. Just be improving.
Okay.
So, anyway, you gave me that one because I asked you for advice. And
short advice.
Yeah, short advice. And that's what you said. Always be improving.
Right. So, I think that's a good general sort of mantra to have.
So that's my theme this year. To always be improving.
All right. Well, good luck with that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What's your theme?
I don't have a theme.
Oh.
I don't really do themes. I just do my thing.
Oh, okay.
That's always my thing.
Just do your thing?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I like your thing, so I guess we'll just do that.
Okay.
You got anything else to add?
Nope.
It's crazy already this year, like, in the world.
Yeah,
right?
The world is crazy.
Yeah.
It's a crazy world. I don't know what we're going to do about it.
I don't know either.
You're going to lock it up?
No, I guess we'll just wait for Trump and whoever else to blow it up.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what they're...
Yeah, we'll just wait for somebody to nuke it all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's a waiting game right now for that.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready for some questions?
Yeah, sure, why not? How about some questions?
Okay. This one comes from a 21-year-old female, and she says, I'm extremely insecure about the fact that I'm witty/funny, and that it's an unattractive trait for most men.
Is it?
Apparently.
Maybe you're not as funny as you think you are, and that's unattractive. As you overestimate your sense of humor. Huh?
Maybe. Let's get into the details.
Oh, okay.
Hi, I have a problem. I'm witty. Been like this my whole life. I get people to laugh regularly, and my friends love this quality of mine. I'm not trying to be funny, it's more of a personality trait. However, I'm so insecure about it when I meet guys. I try to avoid being witty in front of other guys I date, or guys in general, except male friends that I'm close to. I just have a feeling that guys don't like witty girls. They find them more annoying and masculine than anything else. And all of the funny women role models I have are either single or haven't been successful in their dating life. Many of them say it's because of their wittiness. How do I overcome this type of insecurity? I just want to fully be myself, but I find it hard because I don't want to end up single and alone when I'm nearing my 30s.
What do you got for her there?
I think that maybe the problem isn't so much that you're funny. I think it's that you're trying to be something that you're not. And then as time goes on, yourself just kind of leaks through. And then maybe you guys feel like maybe you were kind of representing yourself incorrectly in the beginning. And that's what puts them off, not being funny.
Maybe so, but we don't know if she's tried to just do it straight before, right? Maybe she has this assumption that she's been leading with, but maybe she has a reason to believe this, and she's actually had relationships fall apart because of it. I don't really know what's going on here. She doesn't really say. But if it is because she just assumes and has never actually tried it before, why not try it? What do you have to lose? Why not just be yourself, be funny, and see what happens? And if you have, and it's fallen apart, I don't know, maybe try to get a larger sample size, right? It might have just been that one guy. Try, repeating the process and seeing if you get the same result. And if you do, then you can sort of move forward with that and say, okay, this is probably my sticking point, right?
Right. And I think, too, it might have a little bit to do with how, what type of humor that you're using. Because if maybe you're wrapping a hard truth up in your humor, maybe that's the part that the guys are offended by, is the hard truth part. Not so much the fact that you're funny.
Sure.
Just the fact that maybe you seem to have a little more insights into things than they do.
Some people just don't like to hear the hard truths.
So, I guess not.
No.
So, DJ1974 says, "Are you sure you're actually funny?" That's
hey, how about
what she said. People sometimes say, "You're so funny," as code for other things, like "you're so naive," or "you're so confronting, mean, self-deprecating, that I can only deal by pretending you were joking. And you have incredibly unrealistic or fanciful beliefs/expectations." Or maybe that's the case for your friends whose dating lives you don't wish to emulate. "I've never known a guy to refuse a genuinely funny girl."
I don't really mind funny girls. I can't really say I've met many. But maybe it's just my sense of humor.
You find me funny. You laugh at me all the time.
I laugh at you, not with you.
Okay.
I make fun of you. No,
Yes, I know.
we try to have a good time, but usually you're not the one that's creating it and sustaining the laughter.
No, that's you.
Yeah. And you're joining me. You join me. We have laughs, so that works out for us, but
I was telling somebody at work the other day, too, about that. There was a situation that we were going through or something, and it was, really serious. And I told them this, joke that I was like, yeah. They said, "Well, what did your husband say?" And then I said what you said, and it was a joke. And they were just like, "Ah, that's so insensitive." And I was just like, yeah, but it lightened the mood and made us all laugh. So it was fine. It was great.
Yeah.
If you're not making a joke about something in a serious situation, then, that would probably worry me.
yeah, it would have to be pretty dire, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd have to be pretty upsetting for you to not be joking. I just say be yourself, and eventually you'll find the right guy.
Maybe.
That's my advice.
Maybe. Like I said, try it and see. Maybe yourself really isn't that attractive, in terms of it. I mean, that's possible, and you might. And then you've got to ask, you come to a crossroads at that conclusion, right? You say, do I continue being me and not finding anybody? Or do I maybe take a more critical look at the behaviors I'm exhibiting and see if something needs to change? Or if I even want to change anything, right? And maybe find somebody. See what's going on. Run some tests. Some laboratory tests here.
That kind of sounds fun.
Some lab tests.
Running
Yeah,
tests.
it's super exciting.
All right, next question.
This comes from a 27-year-old male. He says, "My sister, a 21-year-old female, whom I love dearly, hates me." Well, not much you can do about that.
Nope.
You just gotta live your life. He says, "I'm not sure if I'm writing this in the right place, and if that's not the case, I would greatly appreciate it if you could point me in the right direction. Basically, I'm going through some weird point in my life. I've been somewhat successful in my life, graduated a good school, I have a reasonably well-paying stable job, and I have a pretty functional relationship which is heading in the right direction. However, my life choices have forced me to move a bit far from the rest of my family, and oftentimes I have to rely on calling them because I can't physically be with them. My sister's been going through a rough time. She chose a major that she hates, but out of fear of being ostracized, she kept going with it. She's been barely passing the past few years, and she's panicking that she might fail her final year. She's been very depressed about it and very angry with both my parents and myself for encouraging her to go that direction. In reality, no one forced her to choose that major, but she kept saying she's not interested in anything, so we came up with suggestions, because when she first got admitted to the said school, tuition free, it was her dream come true. In addition, she's also been through some relationships that turned sour, but I can't provide details as she only calls me to complain and I've never met any of her boyfriends personally. Nowadays, she's really angry with me, and whatever I say or do, she interprets it as an offense towards her. For some reason, she imagines my life is so much more successful than hers, although my life is only moderately successful for middle-class American. She thinks whatever I do is to prove that I am superior to her, and she imagines that our parents love me more. Hey guy, they might actually. In reality, I've always loved my sister, and as children we got along better than any other siblings I know. I would never try to hurt her. I don't think of her as inferior, but I'm unable to convince her. Whenever I meet with my family, she finds the slightest reason to fight. This not only hurts my feelings, but my parents as well. I've gotten to the point where I hate going for family reunions. This Christmas, I chose to not visit, but I still called them. I spoke to my sister, and at some point she spoke over me. I ignored her and kept on speaking. She found that really offensive and started crying like crazy, ruining everyone's holiday. Later that evening, I made Skype conference, but she wouldn't even look toward the screen. I'm not sure how to deal with this situation, as I really want things to go back to normal between us. Any advice would be greatly appreciated, and if you need any additional information, please let me know. All right. What do you got?
I think that the sister is just projecting. She's not happy in her life. She's not happy with her decisions. And instead of blaming herself for
taking responsibility.
Yeah, for not doing well or for not doing, picking a major that she was a little more interested in, she wants to blame her brother.
Sure.
Because it's so much easier to blame somebody else for your issues.
Absolutely.
Than to take responsibility for them. So I don't really think there's much that you can do until she wants to take responsibility for her own stuff. She's going to blame whoever she wants. And I just want to indulge that. I just want to participate. Right. Just ignore her.
Yeah, the more you put yourself in the way and involve yourself in her life, the more she's going to feel entitled to blame you for all of her problems. Until she learns to grow up and start taking responsibility for her situation, she's going to keep looking to whoever she can to push responsibility off onto and blame for anything that goes wrong in her life. There's not much you can do about that. All you can really do is just keep doing your thing, keep living your life, and maybe one day she'll realize that these things are in her control and they really don't start to improve or get better until she buckles down and accepts that. Because it's very difficult for a person to improve their life or to identify problems that they can fix unless they're willing to accept that some of the things that are happening to them are their fault. Because once you can recognize that and say, hey, this thing that's happening in my life right now is my fault. Once you can do that, you've got an avenue to say, okay, well, because it's my fault, I can do something different now. I can be more responsible, or I can take charge and maybe study harder or change my major or talk to my parents about something, that's on like something that's annoying me or worrying me. Any of these things that a person might be inclined to do that only occurs to them when they can stop and accept that responsibility. Otherwise, the thought process goes more like, oh, God, this thing is so annoying. Why did my stupid brother have to talk me into this? And then because it's her stupid brother that talked her into this, now there's nothing she can do about it, right? There's no way for her to improve or fix anything because it's out of her hands. It's your fault. So again, until she comes around, and maybe she won't. She might not ever come around, guy, and you've just got to be willing to accept that. Some people are the types of people that they just go their whole lives trying to blame other people for their problems. And it's sad, especially when they're people that you love and you care for and you want to see succeed, but you can't help somebody who doesn't want help.
Exactly.
If you try to reach down and pick a person up and they don't want to stand up and help themselves, they're going to drag you down with them. And then you're down there, having all this family drama on Skype during Christmas and getting blamed for every little thing that's going wrong in her life. And then other people around her start looking at you, thinking, what have you done, guy? What are you doing to this poor girl? And you don't want to be there. You don't want to put yourself there. So just let her do her thing and you do your thing and, just hope that one day she'll come around.
I totally understand how the writer feels. He's kind of mourning the relationship that he did have with his sister when they were little and they were super close.
Sure.
And now he wants it to get back to that. And I don't think that it's ever going to be able to get back to that. And so instead of being sad and kind of mourning it, be thankful that you had that time with her back then and look back on those memories and be happy about it. But don't look at what you're missing now, because that's only going to hurt you in the long run and make things more difficult, for you emotionally.
Sure. Comments on this one?
Yes. Vapid Reaper says, sit down with her in a comfortable place and have a serious talk about how much you care for her. This is probably some other underlining problems that she might be trying to send to you signals about, so elder bro mode kicks in.
Yeah. Well, again, the issue is once you sit her down and get involved like this, and now it falls onto you to fix it all.
Exactly.
And it's very difficult in people like this phase of life because they still want to have the independence of being an adult, right? And making their own choices. And so when you sit down with them and try to help them, you can't really suggest anything that goes against what they want to do, right? Once you start doing that, it's like, well, I can't do that. I can't, maybe like, let's say you have a family member that's bad with finances and you say, well, I notice you're spending a lot of money on alcohol or cigarettes, right? Maybe we should think about cutting back on. No, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's if you're not going to help me with my finances, what are you doing here? Just go. I don't need that kind of. I was like, well, hang on a second. That is an actual solution, but they don't want to hear that solution.
Right.
So if you're coming to a person trying to help them, a lot of the times all you're really doing is just becoming the bad guy. And you're taking that responsibility off of them, right? Now you're the person that they can point the finger at and say, it's their fault. My finances are met. They won't even help me.
Right.
They're so good with finances and they think they're better than me. But when I need help, they just sit there and say, stop smoking or stop drinking. Duh. I know I need to stop drinking. I know I need to stop smoking. It's just not that easy. Duh. No, it's not easy. But you can't have that conversation with them because that's
right.
that hard truth.
I think if you sit down and try to have a conversation with her and have that older brother mentality kick in, it's just going to make things worse between you and her.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's just now you're stepping in and now you're kind of confirming, okay, now it's completely okay for me to blame my older brother for everything.
Well, and it's more of that, you think you're better than me, you think,
right.
you know better than me and
right.
you're going to tell me what to do and how to live my life.
Right. All right. Next question.
Okay.
This one comes from a 34-year-old female, and she says, me with my husband, a 34-year-old male of 12 years. He works as a jingle writer for a local ad agency. His company has been hired by the scummy local I get your DUI charges dropped attorney, and I want him to refuse the job, but he says he can't. How do we resolve this?
Yeah.
Happy Sunday. Unfortunately, it's been a miserable weekend in my house. After 2 days of fighting over this, I'm turning to this sub for advice. My husband, Jake, is a very noted artist and musician. In order to make some extra money between paying gigs, he has what amounts to a full-time job working for an advertising agency, doing both print and web art, as well as jingles. The little bits of music that he writes have been featured in everything from local radio bits to long-running national TV commercials. And he has built up some acclaim. The royalties that we get from these jingles amount for a huge part of our yearly income. On Friday, I found out that his company was hired by a local attorney to do a full-spectrum ad campaign. Most large cities have a lawyer like this. Basically, you drive into our city from any direction, and there's a billboard of this guy's face that says, charged with a DUI? I'm attorney XXX, and I'll get your DUI charges dropped. This is bad enough, but this attorney has an infamous reputation in our city for just being an utter sleazeball. In every facet of the word. My husband was assigned to the account team to rework this attorney's jingle and help out with the new print branding. I want him to refuse the job. I think it's ridiculous that his work should have to be associated with this sleaze's face and business for the next 5-ish years. I don't want to have to admit to anyone that part of our income has come from this guy's sleazy business. Like I mentioned above, my husband and I have been at each other's throats since Friday evening over this. How do we resolve it?
Well, I got to say this. First and foremost, you have to trust your husband's judgment, especially when it comes to his own professional work environment.
Right.
And what he is and isn't willing to do in terms of taking risks. What you're doing when you're arguing with him over this is you're not just arguing over the ethics or the morals of taking this job. You're also saying to your husband, I don't trust your judgment in this situation. I don't trust you to make the better decision between the two of us when it comes to your own job. In fact, I think you're wrong. And that really says a lot to your husband between the lines, whether you want it to or not. You know, kind of devalues his judgment, right?
Right.
His ability to make judgment calls in his own job. You're saying you know better with regards to his own job.
Right.
That's a bold claim. That's a bold statement. The guy's been doing it for a while. He's moderately successful at it, right? It pays your bills.
That's the important part. It pays your bills. Like,
well, maybe so,
if
but
this is a huge part of your income, it's only going to hurt him professionally to go and refuse to work on
maybe
this.
so. But I'm saying more importantly, it's his call on whether or not that's a possibility or a fact. Also, you say something like you don't want to have to admit to anyone that part of your income has come from this business. That's nonsense. Okay, your income, the source of your income, is really nobody else's business.
Right.
Your finances are nobody else's business. Now, they might recognize his work or something, and even that is kind of far-fetched, right? Because these jingle writers, I mean, unless he's doing the vocals on them or something, or he's advertising, actively, and in which case, that could benefit you further. But you're speaking about social impact here. And that, again, also shows your husband that there's a certain sort of priority list of what is and isn't important to you.
Also, I feel like maybe if this attorney has this reputation in your city that seems to be infamous, then maybe the attorney realizes this as well, and this is how come he's hired that ad agency, because it says right here, new print and branding. Maybe he wants a different look and a different brand for his advertisements than what he has had. And then, even if you do admit to people that it's your husband's work, maybe it'll be better work. I mean, I don't think that you're going to be held responsible for the sleazy lawyer's, ethics or anything like that. Maybe just for what the ad campaign says.
But she has this sort of like social pressure, this feeling that it might, right? That it could possibly, it's that irrational fear of like social consequences, right? She doesn't want that. She wants to avoid that at all costs. But again, it all speaks to a sort of overarching mistrust.
I agree, though, that it does say a huge mistrust on your husband's judgment.
Yeah, I think so, too.
And I also think that if you continue to ask him to not work on this campaign, that it's going to make him look bad professionally.
Right, and I think he understands that. I think he knows that, but she obviously doesn't care enough to cease harping on him and trying to push him in the direction she wants him to go. Yeah, it's just, it speaks volumes about where she's willing to draw a line, right? Like their relationship isn't as, like the cohesion of them as a unit isn't as important as how she looks to her friends, potentially, It sort of like shows her priority list here.
Right.
What's most important to her. Like what other people think, who her husband is potentially doing business with and what others might think of that.
Right.
Versus like how her and her husband are getting along together and operating as a single unit.
Right. I agree.
It's his specialty area, lady. It's what he knows best. It's what he's done for however long he's been doing it. You should have some sort of faith or trust that he's able to do it well and do it, with a better understanding than you have, honestly.
Right.
Even if you are capable and knowledgeable in his field, it's something that has direct experience doing.
Franco Nia Springfield says, our criminal justice system only works if everyone has a lawyer. It's an adversarial system by design. Someone needs to make sure that the state doesn't violate the Constitution and punish people with insufficient evidence. It's ridiculous to hate on someone just because he defends people. And on top of that, it's ridiculous to be angry with your husband for working on an advertising campaign accused of drunk driving for a defense attorney. I don't think that advice really helps
No, but he's
writer.
just sort of passing his judgment and saying, I don't agree with, your sticking point. And
right.
I tend to agree with this person. I think it is a little silly to be, making a mountain out of this molehill.
Exactly.
This particular molehill is, this is what you want to draw the line in the sand over?
Right. You've had a miserable weekend in your house over this.
Right. You're going to let this divide you and your husband. That seems like
petty.
A really silly thing to cause a huge fight over. And if that's what you're willing to do it on, I can see why you might have that with him. Because he's looking at it too and saying, really, this is what we're sticking on?
Right.
This is the thing, woman, that you want to stick on? This is our livelihood. I mean, why is he even working in the first place, right? Is he not working to provide for you and him? Is he not doing this stuff for you, you know?
All right. Next question. This one comes from an 18-year-old female. She says, my best friend, another 18-year-old female, is dating a man, a 25-year-old male, who is much older than her.
7 years older, to be exact.
I think she's being abused by him, but is too blinded by her love to see that, and I'm worried for her safety.
Uh-oh.
My best friend, Natalie, friends since grade 3, have been dating a man who is much older than her for the last 2 months.
7 years older than her. Apparently 7 years is much older.
Apparently.
Yeah.
She calls him her boyfriend and is deeply in love with him. Her parents don't know how old he is, and they think that she's been dating a boy her age. They've kept their relationship a secret, and I'm one of the few people that know about it. I was skeptical about this from the beginning. Why would a 25-year-old man who owns an apartment and has a full-time job want to date a teenager?
Really?
I've met him before, and he puts on a facade that he's a charming and kind man. I know that that's not true. I've noticed major behavioral changes coming from Natalie. We used to touch each other while talking, light shoulder taps, and the occasional hug. We don't do that anymore. Natalie says that her boyfriend is uncomfortable with our friendship and asked her to stop doing that. But I'm not a lesbian, and we're just friends. Natalie's boyfriend also tells her to keep her hair long and straight, even though she doesn't like her hair done in that way.
But, hey, let me interject here. She doesn't not like it enough to break up with the guy.
Or to just not wear it that way.
Sure. I mean, in terms of like what she's willing to accept, it's this sort of like declaration of this is my preference. I'd prefer you keep it that way versus, well, we can't be boyfriend, girlfriend anymore. Right. So, she's, it's the lesser of two evils, I suppose.
I guess.
Okay.
I don't like, you like my hair curly and I don't like it that way.
Yes, but you don't always wear it curly either.
Exactly.
And I don't throw a fit or anything.
No,
I just go, well,
oh
well.
Just because she's wearing it that way for him and because he likes it, like, she might be doing it because she wants to make him happy, not because he requires it.
That's crazy talk. A woman wants to make a guy happy? What are you talking about? That's controlling.
In the end, it's her choice how she wears her hair.
No, she has no choices here. He's obviously hypnotized her and brainwashed her, and she's just a helpless, poor 18-year-old girl. And he's much older than her. So really, she has no control in this situation. She's just helpless.
Natalie spends a lot of time keeping her boyfriend happy. He's a very needy person.
Oh, he's needy.
They have sex often, and I'm not sure if they're using protection, as that's really none of your business.
I wonder if she's needy at all either. I wonder if...
friend?
No, Natalie. I wonder if Natalie's needy for him and they need each other. Is that weird for two people to want to be around each other and spend a lot of time together?
No, I want to spend all my time with you, so...
I like having you around too, dear.
I don't find that weird.
But apparently this is I don't know, some sort of like red flag that...
You're abusive then because I want to be around
I mean, for these two people. Yeah.
I have heard their arguments, and Natalie is somehow always at fault, and her boyfriend is never held responsible. I've tried confronting her, but she won't even listen to me, her best friend. She says I shouldn't interfere with their relationship and that it's perfect. Natalie's love for him is making her blind from the abuse that she's taken.
She hasn't actually specifically mentioned any abuse yet.
Right.
She keeps talking about abuse, but I haven't heard her say what the abuse is.
This is her first relationship, so she doesn't know what a healthy one looks like. Natalie has been talking about moving away with her boyfriend when she graduates high school. She's extremely excited about this.
Wait. Does she not have parents? Does poor Natalie an orphan?
No, her parents don't know that she's dating a guy that's
okay,
older
but she's saying this is her first relationship. She doesn't know what a relationship is supposed to be
right.
like.
Oh, yeah. No, I
Are we not aware of other people that are around us and what their relationships are like?
Right.
That's crazy, right?
Right.
I mean, that we actually observe the people around us and learn from them? Do we not do that? Is that not allowed when it comes to learning about what a relationship is supposed to be?
We have no example.
No, we can't look to anybody else for examples, apparently.
This sounds like a huge red flag to me. Her boyfriend wants to distance her away from her friends and family so that she can't get help.
Help with what exactly?
When the abuse actually finally starts happening, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I want to help Natalie, but I don't know how to get into her head.
Get to her, yeah.
What do I do? Should I talk to her parents about this? I think you should just leave it alone.
Yeah.
If she's happy, she's happy.
Well, what's going to happen when you talk to her parents about it is depending on what kind of parents they are, right? They're either going to look at you like you're a very clingy friend, right? Who might be a lesbian because you're so jealous of this boyfriend, right? And then they're going to dismiss you, or they're going to take your side, and then they're going to go to Natalie. And then now it looks like everybody's against Natalie and her boyfriend.
Which is only going to push them to leave sooner.
Absolutely. Have you ever read Romeo and Juliet? Okay, Romeo and Juliet were so ostracized by their family for their relationship, or felt ostracized, that they were compelled to first simulate their death and then later on actually follow through with it. Right?
Well, I really feel like if Romeo and Juliet had just had better communication with each other, they'd both still be alive.
But the lesson between the lines is that parents who create these sort of walls find that their children are more apt to scale them and get away from their families. And that's what you're talking about having happen in your best case scenario. So I don't think that that's a viable option. Here's the bottom line, though. I know we're giving you a hard time here, and rightfully so, because you're being a little judgmental and critical, and you haven't really listed any particular abusive behavior here that I'm aware of. I mean, maybe I'm looking past something.
I think that when she says that it's abusive, like, she feels like this is the beginning stages of abuse. Like, this is the grooming.
Right.
Grooming for abuse.
Sure. And it could be that she's already passed judgment on this person. And the fact that she's passed judgment on this person and this relationship is what's poisoning the well here.
Right.
Because it informs all of her interactions with her friend and this other guy when he's around. It sort of leaks out, whether you want it to or not. The fact that you have passed judgment on them, it comes through in all of your interactions, your body language, the tone of your voice. Even if you don't think it does, it really does.
Yeah, I feel like maybe she, our writer here, passed the judgment that he's 25 and he wants to be with an 18-year-old girl. In her mind, that's unacceptable.
Right.
And everything else has just kind of gone from there.
Yeah. Yeah. You being 18 yourself and also a female, so not a male and not 25 years old, it's almost impossible for you to understand why a 25-year-old male might want to be with an 18-year-old female. But regardless, that's the situation we're in. And you might have some theories as to why that is, right? And they might lead you to, like, he's a bad guy or he's an abusive guy. But again, since you're not an actual 25-year-old male, it's impossible for you to know. Right. My advice in a situation like that, where you can't really know what a person's true intentions are, motivations are, is to observe their actions. Look at what's happening. What's he doing? Is she showing up with bruises? Is she crying? Is she calling you in the middle of the night, afraid? Are there things happening? Not arguments and stuff. My wife and I got into an argument last night.
We did. It was awful.
It was awful. And we got over it. We put it behind us.
Thank goodness.
It was one of very few that we've had in the last few years.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really a big argument, but it was notable because they don't happen often.
Right.
And so when they do, things very much feel off. So yeah, people argue, even people that are very secure and united, they still argue. And really what it takes in situations like this, it just takes time to sort of mend the fences a little bit and get back on the same page with each other.
Right.
So I don't think it benefits you to look at like an argument that you might have observed and judge that to be the entirety of the relationship.
Right.
One argument does not define the relationship.
Just because Natalie is changing her behavior to make her man happy or things like that, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad thing.
Especially if the end result is that Natalie's happy. Do you not want Natalie to be happy? Is she not your friend that you wish happiness upon?
Right.
And is she not happy?
Exactly. Just because they're not things that you would do in a relationship doesn't mean that they're wrong or bad because somebody else would do them.
Right. Relationships are very one-on-one things. We all sort of have to find our way and figure out what works for us as individuals, not what is the globally accepted,
generic.
Yeah, the legally defined right way to have a relationship.
Right.
That doesn't and shouldn't exist. You know?
Exactly.
And it sounds like that's what you're trying to do, is sort of project your own ideas of what a relationship should be onto her.
So Full Metal says, he is grooming her to be his play toy. What actions have you done other than talking to her? I tried to talk to her again, but I would also speak with her parents about this. I know doing these things may or will hurt your relationship, but you've known her for years and it could heal. She is blinded and he sounds like a creep. At the end of the day, I strongly believe sitting her down and telling her that she will lose everything if she continues down this path. If she wants to continue this, you should not feel obligated to keep trying.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can say that. What if this is the guy for her and she's extremely happy and she continues down this path and has a great, wonderful life? You don't know. You don't know because at the end of the day, you don't know what happens behind closed doors in their relationship.
Play toy. I don't see the problem with being a play toy. Do you? I mean,
No.
They make it sound like this is a bad thing. It sounds like a very puritanical sort of approach to this. Play toy. Ugh. We don't like to talk about sex and, that sort of stuff here. She's blinded and he sounds like a creep. I think people assume he's a creep because of the age difference, probably. Right. And again, there's all kinds of reasons for that. It could be a certain lack of his own maturity. Maybe he just sort of identifies with younger people a little bit better.
It could be her over maturity that he likes.
Yeah, she could be particularly mature for her age. Who knows?
Exactly.
Some kids have to grow up younger than others. I've been a grouchy old man since I was in junior high. I really have.
Yeah.
Because I had to grow up and change diapers and take care of babies, while I myself was still kind of a baby. So I didn't really have time to be much of a kid.
Right.
But that's how some people are. They just grow up differently and they reach certain maturity levels faster or slower than other people. And that's why sometimes ages don't exactly match up when two people are getting together.
Right. I don't think it's really about age. I think it's more about the two people that are together and how they fit together.
Sure. Yeah. As long as they're not like 6 and 30. Right?
Right.
I dare you to show me a mature 6-year-old.
All right.
Okay.
Next question.
How can I, a 28-year-old male, uncreepify myself to my coworker, a 21-year-old female? This is a very apt follow-up question, isn't it? Gosh, guy. Good luck with that one. He says, so I work for a company that has stores throughout the area. We all talk in a main work chat for professional work-related things. Anyway, some of us veteran employees created an alternative work chat. And this is for us to vent about our boss, customers that come in, and also allows us to cuss freely, as it's ran by the coworkers and not the bosses. Anyway, one day I overslept and ran 2 hours late for work. That's quite an oversleep. Man, I was sure I was going to get fired. I didn't. In the alternative work chat, I went out on a meltdown on how I am a failure and how I may OD myself. Oh, boy.
What does that mean, OD?
Overdose.
Oh.
Talking about killing himself.
Oh.
Jeez. My coworkers in that chat was very supportive and calmed me down. All except for this one girl that I have a crush on. She used to be one of my closest friends in our circle, and I'm interested in her too. After my meltdown, I sent her a text saying, "Yo, I'm sorry about my meltdown in the chat. I hope we're still cool, LOL." She replied back with, "No worries. Happens to me too sometimes." Well, ever since that day, I don't hear that much from her. I've been off the past couple of days, but she doesn't like messages that I post in work chat anymore like she used to. I'm sure I creeped her out between my meltdown and apologizing to her one-on-one for something I did publicly. I'd like to appear cool again in her eyes. This, like you ever were. And get back to where we were. What should I do? This incident happened Saturday. Could it be as simple as just being cool, not let it happen again, and she may forget about it? Is there any actions I can do to make up for what happened? Also, it may be too early. She may still be cool with me, and it may just be my anxiety telling me that she thinks I'm creepy. I don't know. Oh boy. So there's a few things going on here.
First of all, I totally missed that when I first read this question. I thought that this happened a long time ago, and this her not kind of ignoring him and stuff built over time. But this happened Saturday, and it's Sunday. Maybe she was just busy today.
Yeah.
Maybe she hasn't looked at work chat yet.
I don't know.
Maybe.
But the fact that this is coming from a 28-year-old guy, and he's behaving this way in his life, all kinds of red flags that you're throwing up to people, man. Like, you should have a better sort of lock on your emotional state. You should exhibit a much more stable image to people, even if you yourself internally are not. Even if you don't feel stable, even if you feel anxious and you have anxiety, it doesn't benefit you to sit there and air it out on this alternative chat in any way whatsoever. Yeah, great. You get like this sort of token emotional support from your coworkers, but ultimately, what good does that do you? And if it is doing you good, you've got other issues there now, because now you're sort of reliant on these people to support you and hold you up emotionally, and you become a burden on them. And that's taxing to your friendships, right? Having to constantly reassure you and make you feel good about yourself because you woke up late one day and you're sweating getting fired. That doesn't communicate, hey, this is a very stable and secure person.
Right.
And people don't want to spend a lot of time around those types of people. That's like this girl, for example, right?
Right.
Now you've sort of exhibited this neurotic, sort of manic person who's, has these huge ups and downs.
And she may not want that in her life.
People don't want that in their life. That's a lot of noise they don't need. That's a lot of drama they don't need.
Right.
They're looking for their own stability, things that make them feel safe and secure, not people they've got to manage whenever they happen to get up late for work.
Right. And I think that wanting to kill yourself just because you were 2 hours late for work, a little bit of a overreaction.
Absolutely. So you're definitely communicating the wrong thing here. What can you do now, though, to fix things? Yeah, definitely just calm yourself down, fix yourself internally, get a better grip on yourself, and let that sort of be a motivation to just do better in the future in general. Not for her, but for you. Do better for yourself, because it's going to have a cascade effect on all of your interactions, not with just this girl, but your coworkers and future girls and other people that you haven't met yet.
Right.
It's going to benefit you so much more to work on this for yourself rather than for her. So put that out of your mind. Forget about it. It may or may not be ruined. Who knows? But more importantly, who cares? Just let it go. Move forward. Focus on improving yourself and becoming more stable. Listen, the best thing that will happen is that'll happen, and then she'll come around again, and you might have something there. But even if that doesn't, that's still the best possible thing you can do for yourself.
Right. Just to improve.
Right.
Just chill out. Give it some time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. So all that glisters says, for all you know, ODing or suicide could be something sensitive to her, and you blithely saying it, regardless of meltdown, could have soured everything on her end. She might just want things to be professional now.
Right. So. Yeah. Maybe so. Who knows? But again, the advice applies regardless of what's happening on her end, because it should always apply regardless of what happenings on some other. You should be living your life for what works for you and what helps you and what benefits you. And then the other people that come in as a result of that, they get to benefit as well.
Exactly.
It's like, if I'm not putting myself first and taking care of myself and doing for me, then I'm in a worse position to take care of my family and support my family.
Right.
And so I've got to put myself first, because if I suffer as a result, if I suffer for my family, I only get to do that one time. If I sacrifice myself for my family, I only get to die one time, right? But if I put myself first every day, I get to keep helping them every day for the rest of my life, for as long as I can.
Let's do that one.
Yeah, that's my point. That's my point. You can only sacrifice yourself once, right?
Right.
It doesn't benefit you to put everybody else in front of you.
Exactly.
So live for yourself, guy.
Good advice. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. That's all the questions we have this week.
All right.
Feels good to be back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully this one makes it out.
I hope so. If you guys have any questions or comments. Oh, we got to do our Peach in a Pit. I almost
Look
forgot.
at you, man. You're totally rusty.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
All right. So our Peach this week is that we got to meet our nephew.
Yeah.
And it was great. And he's just absolutely adorable.
Yep.
And I'm so in love.
I have no problem saying if a baby's ugly.
This baby is adorable.
I can call an ugly baby an ugly baby. That's the kind of asshole that I am. Right? This is not an ugly baby.
No, he's very adorable.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
Yeah. He's a cutie. So
Definitely. So it was really great to get to meet him. He's already a year old, so we kind of missed out a little bit because of distance and stuff.
Yeah, but that's okay, because even at a year, they're still pretty boring.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot going on. They're just they're just kind of there. They're like zombie victims, you know?
Zombie victims.
Maybe a little noisier, though.
Well, I think he's adorable, and I love having a baby in the house.
Yeah.
It's great. But I definitely have decided I do not want a third baby.
No,
ever.
you're done, huh?
Good.
Oh, okay.
Good.
All right.
So, Randolph had already decided that for me a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
so.
well, I kind of had the idea, that you wouldn't really want it even if you thought you did.
Right. So it's fun to get to do all the fun stuff and then give them back to mommy.
Right. You're the aunt now,
Yeah.
so you get to do the fun aunt stuff, and then when you're done, you go, here you go.
Right, and I'm excited because this is the first baby in our family that's made me an aunt.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I'm excited about that. It's fun.
I guess it has been, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Our pit this week is that it's just been really hard to get back into the podcasting. We've had several life issues come up, and we've had to put it off, and I hate not making it a priority or life getting in the way, but...
You can't help it sometimes,
No.
You just gotta, you gotta do your thing.
Right. Yeah. And the weather here has been crazy. It's been like hot and then cold and then hot and then freezing.
Well, that's Arkansas. You know the old saying, if you don't like the weather in Arkansas, just wait.
Right. So it's really frustrating because where I work, the door that everybody comes in and out is constantly open. And so like one side of me is like cold and the other side is like warm because it's like right next to a heater, and I would rather just be like one temperature than half and half.
Sure.
It drives me nuts. So, do you have any pits or peaches or anything?
No, nothing personal, just work stuff, Work was kind of weird this week, but that's about it. Nothing too big.
I liked that your work week was weird. I didn't have to walk to work on Saturday, and I got to see you for a little bit.
Yeah, my Saturday was definitely out of the ordinary, but can't be helped. Sometimes I gotta do weird stuff for work sometimes.
Gotta go where you're needed.
Yeah.
All right, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please write into happilyneverequal@gmail.com. You know that I would love to hear any of those. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Our handle on Twitter is happynotequal.
Yeah, and we're also on YouTube.
That's correct.
All right.
All right, husband, you have a great week.
All right, wife, you behave.